Um, this involves the traders in their cases, problems-based society, that sort of thing. Um, Deals a lot with action, motive, money, all that. Um, the thing that's abided by, the thing that's respected, deals with a kind of pack it in, pack it out sort of thing. Um, kind of personal karma um, might be one way of looking at it. If you have like an overhanging, overshadowing sort of thing, that's the thing that deals with constitutionality and why the truth is always to kind of downplay that sort of thing rather than exacerbate that sort of thing. And the truth is that it it deals with various roots and ways and forms of various governing logics. Um, that's where your problems-based society comes from, is that kind of blow up and profiting and capitalism. That's your idea of dealing with DS, which ultimately doesn't really apply and is kind of a personal thing in one instance. On the other hand of that, whenever you do that sort of thing correctly, the whole world is DS, but it's because the whole world is DS, not that you engage in it sort of thing, is how that stringent or ethic or methodology ends up applying. That you're not taking things out of ratio, and that ultimately is the downplaying of the problem, which is fine. That's never been an issue. What you can't do is establishment of slavery, blame on me what you're doing wrong, um, dumping karma for the sake of ego, calling that some sort of blessed or holy action, akin to basically the definitions regarding the current war. The idea is that we don't want to get things to the level where somebody has to manually do a holy war move, some sort of terroristic sort of tactic. Um, and then, in that same sense, that's why we're able to call those kinds of people martyrs. There's a whole description of that actually in Islamic culture. And what I can tell you is that problems-based society is not that. The blowing up of that, the capitalization on that, the neoning of it, the unconstitutionality of it, the superimposition of that. That's not some sort of fake thing. It's the world as it is sort of thing. It's the getting rid of that problem, not the creating, recreating of it for some sort of egoist tactic, which you then go on to um, superimpose into some sort of quality, some sort of quantity, some sort of thing that isn't occurring. Um, and it's done basically for the sake of something else, like saving face and that sort of thing, which is why you can't rely on Antichrist shit to be some kind of teacher. It's not that. Has nothing to offer, offers nothing, scabs and stabs you out the back end. So that's the kind of pack it in, pack it out sort of thing, because it deals with that you're not dumping karma and shit like that on other people. Um, And then if you want to escalate that all the way up to the point of the holy, where you're looking at that as a literal thing rather than um, kind of looking up to that as if it's a kind of magic sort of thing. That's kind of the difference between D and S, so to speak. Neither of which imply the use of Schadenfreude, and that goes all the way back to the black. It's unusable, it's unspeakable, it's some horrid psych tactic that is not the self-becoming, so to speak. It's the cannibalism, if we want to put it into international terms. But yeah, the downplaying of that sort of thing, not the feeding on it like it's some sort of fodder and all of that. So, more or less regarding the treasonists, they were all tried actually at an adult level, because that was the level that they were operating at and from and working in, and that sort of thing. We got done with the various trials, sets of trials sort of thing, protecting our nation during a time of war, which is actually still ongoing because the terrorists are still in operation and present and making money and hootenanny, having a good old blasted time, you know. Not an ounce of apology or a stitch of recanting, none of that. So we got done with the spread, and there was kind of a collection of noise which ended up drawing my attention. Kind of sad about it. But then again, I am that guy to kind of review that kind of thing. It's the executive director of the CIA, which I am extremely proud of. And also my religion and the things that I do with that and regarding that I keep separate. And I would like to accept the gentleman's apology from the United States at large regarding the invasion of my constitutional rights and my religious practices from the United States, which was totally unnecessary and more a function of the same kind of terror which threatens us, and we fight each and every day, while they just laugh straight to the bank with it. How did that happen? How did not, I didn't know 9/11, those people, that grouping. So we got done with it, those people and that grouping. I want to see what the big deal is. AI and, mass murder and slavery and, all that kind of thing. Kind of just got done writing a series of essays regarding kind of the despicable nature of that sort of thing. Just kind of from the personal sense, which was invaded, how I can't accept it personally, and kind of out the far end, I guess, light at the end of the tunnel, if you were, the, kind of what the United States means to me sort of thing. Religious freedoms, initial spaces, actually just created some incredible content regarding that, which is kind of the thing that does exist moving forward. something to be proud of, something that was worth fighting for, although you never wish for the fight unless you're some sort of disgusting ass creep cannibal looking to make a bit off blood kind of shit. So we got done with it, and there was some noise. Not the whole group of treasonists, just a part of it. There's a long-standing policy in the United States kind of regarding the not killing of princess sort of thing, so we had to go back and redefine kind of what princess is and that kind of thing. Look at yeah, stuff of kind of that nature. And then there was a degree of protection of kind of the civility of that sort of thing, where you would leave a person and call it okay. Kind of went into the thinking and the format. And we looked back, and the war against the KKK has been widespread, but it was something that was solved. And then we kind of look at the methodology that was proposed to kind of fight that sort of thing, and what we find out is that it's basically the exact thing that it says that it is fighting. So a lot of people knew about that and took advantage of a lot of those loopholes, and a lot of people got very confused in the intertwining and the backs and forths of that sort of thing, all the theft, all the rape, all the treason, tyranny, terrorism, crime, organized crime rings. So we're not looking at the bulk of the people condemned. We're just not. Not going back there. The one nuance that we did look at was kind of a iffy sort of thing that regarded the military's stance and advance into kind of these criminal structures that institutions of the government failed to successfully combat, resulting in AI, problems-based society coming back in. And there's a bit of a caveat, so to speak, to be blunt, although you don't deserve this, you're not owed this, but I'm going to state it anyway so that it's out there and actually kind of gives a footing to maybe some of the things that I kind of trampled upon or wasn't enough respectful of. There's been a lot of heavy information. Not entirely wonderful to go traipsing around kind of the collective memory sort of thing, but kind of a disrespecting of the past. Whatever you think of it, it's something that happened, and so you have to take it as a degree of that rather than, that hasn't happened yet, thumbing your nose at whatever the fucking term is. Kind of a lot of collective struggle, and that sort of thing. It's just not a polite or respectful way. It's not ever warranted. as some sort of offense or means or way, which is a lot of the arguments I have on the leftist side of politics, going to the rightist cannibalism, usury, um, theft, grotesqueness sort of thing. I just, some people say, oh, that's life or what, and they're wrong. And then that's how that kind of gets hashed back into the holy world overall sort of thing. They call it some sort of sacrificial sort of thing, which does not apply. Looking in terms of DS and all that sort of thing, this one's going up and this one's, it's not the same thing. You know, jumping in front of a bullet as opposed to, running behind one, rolling the dead, kind of thing. Not an easy decision because of the segmenting, and then especially as it applies to the religious context, there was a lot of necessity required to be careful, not just in a respect caliber, which is all its own thing, but also the various specificalities and nuances of religion. We got it kind of like we did yesterday there, kind of chasing things out to the far end there, dealing with a lot of groupings, that sort of thing. We've had particularly issues with Nazism, not to single them out, I guess, just call it the white nationalist blanket sort of thing. But actually we're able to successfully handle that, and it turns out that it's separate from religion. A lot of the things were a back and forth between Nazism and KKK, Germany versus Britain, I'm the expert there sort of thing. And solved all that out. Like this part's law, this part's law, this part's law. We get down to the end, and there's not much of an argument left, sort of thing, and you have to walk that way, which is constitutionality. The black field is yourself and not something to be fucked with. And then that's the overall positions of actually both of those groups in total. It's this sort of anti-Antichrist thing, a lot of confusion with that, and then a lot of difficulty implementing some of the things that we already know, which is this whole why make new laws, just enforce the ones on the, it's not really the answer sort of thing. You need kind of a total kind of overhaul of the way that we view and go about these things. Fortunately, there was a lot in the military realm of having already dealt with that. I don't want to, I guess, name names because it brings people into it, but I mean, I have it published right there, the MK Ultra segments, Osama bin Laden, that kind of thing kind of came after Hitler, sort of thing. So Hitler kind of gets posited up on this kind of clarity, which is a space that I kind of go into, kind of the transitioning of like some of the royal aspects, or the super electorate aspects, or the religious aspects, into the realm of kind of the person. And so there's lots of psychologies, there's lots of spheres and cycles of how to do that correctly. We get down to it and take a lot of the Catholic point of view, which is, I guess when we kind of get down to it, kind of the preconditioned sort of thing. There was a lot of hype regarding some sort of savior or something like that being a psychological aspect, and None of that worked. Um, but yeah, just the repudiation of the Antichrist sort of thing. There's a character to the nation sort of thing. We can't do the cannibalism, the profiting, the, the, the what allotments for bloodlust. None of these things pan. None of these things are good. So yeah, there was a lot of not only religious grade talks, but religious discussions, and wow, kudos to the people who were there and helping actually with that. Um, like I said earlier, there's more knowledge in about 10, 15, 20 people than the rest of the world combined. That's not something to be joked about or laughed at or taken for granted or counted as trivial. Just the seriousness of that sort of thing, of both life and death, however you want to look at it. The United States does have a policy respecting all of that. Rule number one. So just because of the 1900s, and we can kind of blame that, I guess, on the basically the utilization of oil is kind of where I get to it in the symphonic of human history. There was, I think, 2 billion people on Earth in 1900. Then we found oil, the main chemical that we get out of natural gas, ammonia. The main chemical in pesticides comes out of that. We have all this food now, and making all these tanks and shit like that. It was just multiplying death, multiplying death, multiplying death. So a lot of education to be able to keep all that straight. A lot of fireside chats. A lot of looking deep into people's eyes. A lot of thinking very, 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 very well in very, very, very quiet places. A lot of rigor, a lot of work. You got to walk these things out sometime. I mean, I've done all this. This is well documented. So, yeah, what are we talking about? The series of things that I don't owe you. You're still here demanding, as if it has pertinence to your situation, sort of thing. As it went, maybe from the religious realm into what it had to be because of the problem, the polarity of it, all that sort of thing. And we reversed the polarity, which was me. I did that. That was cool, and it kind of cleared out some stuff. There's a two-prong sort of thing. One was that kind of the guy that was running point on some of the problems-based society stuff. It started as he wanted some various definitions of the of what that is, almost from a religious standpoint, kind of looking at how the Antichrist is Schadenfreude, sort of thing, the exact same thing, and how it blossoms and blooms and all of that. And then out at the far end of that, there ended up being kind of a series of loopholes that protected the KKK that we had to shut down. Um, you can't have that. Um, and then that helped out, and I don't want to say appeased because eliciting a standard, achieving distinction, is not a process of appeasement. It's not a it's nothing like that. We're dealing with stuff, like get me out to the point of initial space sort of thing. Um, and that was kind of what we were talking about yesterday in terms of some of the groupings, and then just kind of as we move forward, this is a hate group and not tolerated. This is a hate group and not tolerated. What that is, um, you gotta walk the right way, pal. These people are teachers. These people are helping. These people know what's going on. Um, the false expert shit, the ego shit, the posturing, the presenteering is actually the shit that we get down to, sort of thing. So we get out to the end. The thing that's on the table actually deals with vouchers, sort of thing. And so it was a war. This is not some sort of democratic effort. Rather, like I said, the United States military would still exist if there was not a United States kind of thing. So it kind of deals with a lot of the foundations of that, a lot of military traditions, I guess, is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, that we're kind of dancing around here, trying to be light, not touch things, not disturb things. It's unnecessary, and it's precedent. People don't belong in that. There's a difference between civilian and military, and that's just not going to change. You commit yourself to that sort of thing. You're allowed to be kind of born into citizenry so long you don't violate it in the United States. The basis of that deals with a kind of anti-slavery, basically. And that wraps up basically every issue that there is. But yeah, for clarification, just as we were kind of going after problems-based society, one said it was Klan, one said it was the Mormons, one said it was the Nazis. So this is not, some sort of national scale problem. It's this group, this group, this group, and went the whole way through the shit. Found out the truth about stuff. That's what investigations are about. So if we're going to add maybe a fourth element to it, I guess in some senses we could speak to it as maybe the Islamic, especially. I don't want to be easy about it. I don't want to take some sort of easy cheesy kind of thing. But I do believe the year 1993 happened, kind of thing. I have read those essays. I have seen those videos. I do have a deep understanding, sort of thing, of the kind of progress, especially as it relates to a constitutionality, some of the backroom sorts of things, and whatever else that we're not going to get into because I already won that, and I already taught that. I already talked about all that. So you can look that up yourself rather than bothering me and wasting my time. I'm done holding hands with folks, kind of walking folks here, there, and everywhere, dealing with your trash. And it's on a national scale, so maybe you're kind of embarrassed. I would be, over all the shit that you've caused, especially to me. The people condemned, none of them apologize, none of them give a fuck. They hate it if it happens to them, but love it if it goes somewhere else, so that's that whole not downplaying, not being a good person is kind of how we look at that. And that whole not downplaying it, that whole puff up shit, never came up with anything. Not a usable goddamn thing in the whole fucking pile. So that was kind of the referendum, I guess, on kind of the dictatorship aspect, kind of the people worship aspect, and that kind of boiled down to some of the itinerary concerning kind of groups and stuff like that. And like I said, there weren't many of them. Unfortunately, we were able to kind of go to these various groups and be able to figure out some of the concerns. I was the guy who did that. And got to a classification and quality of constitutionality that produced a union, not only with and about constitutionality, but also including the military, the Pentagon, various energetic transitions. Again, it was my family that had to pay for that, my family that solved the problem. And I'm not looking for that sort of thing to be precedent, and in truth, it's not, because we've solved these problems and we have definitions, we've elicited these standards, not going back up to the apex of some sort of Armageddon sort of thing, disqualified in the end the apocalypse shit. Everybody's in a good place aside from the terrorists demanding more, which we daily have to deal with because you can't really say enough as to how despicable these people are. So if that's the sort of question that I'm supposed to regard you in some sort of way, hold your hand, walk you through shit, be responsible for that my consciousness is supposed to be responsible for your conscience. There's no translation, it's not like, oh, we found one hole sort of thing. It's the whole thing as a whole. There is no, translation from that to that. In this business of me having to go find one because I'm Jewish and military is supposed to be slaves because people steal money, and that's the false sense of safety that we need to preserve to endorse this society of crime for the sake of producing more criminals in the end of some sort of genocide or genocidal for inequality, and there they are, Oh, it's the Antichrist. How about that? So yeah, there was a series of vouchers. It didn't pertain the vouch that I'm talking about, the clearing that I'm talking about, it didn't pertain some sort of holy against holy element. It dealt with a group, this group, going up against this group. There was a holy reaction sort of thing, and at that time I was the one responsible for dealing with those holy reactions sort of thing. We get down to it, this Schadenfreude Antichrist shit is not anything holy. It's this psych trick, like we just talked about 3 seconds ago, and I have an essay kind of coming out about sort of thing. We'll have to get around to it. But we don't need to repeat basically any of this. And so it was kind of a fighting and a utilization of some of the holy realm because the conflict had escalated to the point that it was having spiritual ramifications. So it's not like a I don't know. It's not the best example there. It's not a what someone, I don't know, what would I say? The linkage that I mean, it goes through like the kind of molested psychological and the organized crime. We get up into the terrorism. We get up to the treason. We get to the reactionary momentum sort of thing. So the vouch kind of deals with only one person. It kind of deals with kind of the layout of that sort of thing. And it's like in the same way that I was to represent the Messiah, this person was to represent kind of the gathering of those kinds of units, that kind of structure, and just in the kind of seriousness of the various religion. And you don't have to even go to that height, I guess, or that depth, if that's how you consider it, sort of thing. You know, there's a very literal war going on. 9/11 happened, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's not a my phone was stolen. Someone stole my wallet. It's a someone stole my wallet and stole my identity. You know, now we have this online problem sort of thing. And so then, because it's an online problem, this is the arena that it's you know, it's being utilized, sort of thing. And then we get down to the shit, and my person doing the units was not doing problem-based society. Was actually rather fighting it, and it sucks for me. Is what it comes down to. It doesn't mean that, I guess in the same breath, it doesn't mean that you get that sort of thing. It sucks for me. You know, I had to pay, which was part of the fighting the Freudianism and the KK. You know, how would you like it? You know, debating this kind of morality related, this character sort of thing, and then the whole behavior shit was totally off. All of that's wrong. We've had to go fix all that. You know, that was all the way back as far as 2014, you know. Fix all that, fix all that, fix all that, fix all that. So we kind of did the math, and it sucks for me, which is why initially it didn't kind of come about. We're in a process of war. We've won the war, you know, by the way. You know, won the war, created the, I mean, bang, 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 you know, sort of thing. So then just kind of in the review, that's why it wasn't kind of initially intuitable, might be a good term. So it doesn't matter if you apply it to the rest, you know, sort of thing. They didn't make it. But there's one vouch, I guess, in particular sort of thing that hopefully we don't have problems with going forward. There's always the thing. AI sucks. I can tell you that. You know, and actually we took care of that yesterday. You know, it's you know, the various controls and creators, and you know, it's kind of like the quality control moving forward that got surrendered. Happy about that, so we can kind of redirect it maybe a little bit back toward the sex change realm, rather than worrying about all of these horrible pasts and schisms and problems, and making money off of them and shit like that. had a suspicion, I guess, that if this in particular went through, that it would kind of close the door on everything else. And that's exactly what happened, sort of thing. And then at the same time, there was kind of this collection of noise, we'll call it, out toward a certain way, um, kind of more a politic than some sort of initial will, I guess is how I would put it. Um, so it's kind of this, that, and the other thing, and you look at bases and things like that. We look at kind of the concepts that we created, these ideas of regeneration, the possibility of error. Um, you always do, you know. Um, and that kind of thing. Um, Essentially, it sucked for me, but at the same time, I was able to hold kind of the some of the military greatness. It's like you go and you do all this work, and you're like, "What the hell did I do this for?" You know, kind of. I don't want to say morale because it's cheap, but um, kind of the finality of fighting, sort of thing. You know, there's something to believe in. There's something that we do. The Constitution is real, is a reality. There is a union. There is a law. There is an eventuality. There is, you know, predictions. All these things that we can come up with. And so the separatic, separate, the distinction, um, noise, um, kind of deals with a going towards that rather than some sort of other thing. And I don't take it lightly. It's the same thing that I said yesterday, kind of regarding Catholicism. I mean, for forever, um, you know, people kind of come to me in some sort of like a Catholic fraternity or something like that, and I can't bite like I used to. You know, they were there. Um, you know, they made that. They did that. You know, like that doesn't go away. I'm not one with this kind of brethren aspect. I'm not doing this. You know, sort of thing. You know, that's what they bought, so to speak. That was not a perfect zero. Um, you know, that is a flaw. You know, I can kind of get over it because of this, that, and the other thing, which you have no business looking at, is what we came up with. Um, you know, society is a little different than it was 2,000 years ago. Um, that's because of the politics. We have a political base. We have 2+. We have you know, different things that we're forwarding to the police of how to change how they do things. Um, you know, things have changed. There is a progress. Um, you know, don't kid yourself. You work for something. You know, so that's kind of the emotion, um, not emotion, not political motion, sort of thing. It's not a thing that's really like that. It's just digits. You know, I'm a guy. Um, might be over, or closer to over, or closing, or something like that. But I'm the one that got stuck with that. Um, you know, and it's a blessed position. I'm not going to sit here and you know, fucking talk bad on the experience. You know, it's this is the United States military. Um, it's an honor and a certain command. You know. And that's how that goes, and that's how that fits, and things like that. So, yeah, I took a hit. Um, you know, there was kind of the overall. almost counts as a part of training sort of thing, which actually is never going to happen again, and was also apologized for actually by the president um, for having tortured the fuck out of an American service member. And so then we had kind of a recollection or a redistricting or a different organization of what that would seem like as we got rid of some of the old school racisms and the martial laws. Is kind of what I'm talking about. So it's something I won, and also something I paid for. But it was more the grouping against the grouping, and not something literally and specifically holy war that I'm talking about. And so that's kind of why there's that feathering going out toward that. Um, why the karma goes away. It's not something that I have to sit here and pray about. It's not something that I have to take into myself, that I have to digest, that I have to eat. Eat it, bitch, Jew, blackie, nigger, these are the kinds of things that wear on a person. You get very sick of dealing, and thankfully we have a incredible Democratic Party. In the works and that sort of thing, to be able to deal with some of those kinds of issues. And then at the same time, we have the establishment of the treaties regarding the Pentagon, kind of it deals with the respect of soldiers sort of thing. It's not martial law. It's not militarism. It's not dictatorship. It's not anything. It's just a very basic ideal and trust of kind of how you treat people, and then how you treat civil servants. Your leaders are not fucking restrooms. There's a weight and decency to human life. Sitting there making dead baby jokes like 9/11 didn't happen, like there's not folks out there sweating in the Middle East, and like there's not some sort of occupying force in a land that does not in any way, shape, or form belong to the United States. So there's some discussions on that, and a lot of the fighting came down to kind of a Palestinian. Actually, I just kind of fixed this morning. I have enough raw, literally. It's kind of in a difficult language, but thankfully there's some very brilliant people out there, sort of thing. So we have literally the end of that. This is not something that's becoming. We don't have to, where's the Messiah, kind of context. We have a very literal thing in the same way that we built the Adams Matrix. I mean, we have great relationships existing with Islam. This business of we're going to defeat Islam, and we're going to do it with bullets. This Crusadian fucking mess. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. God damn it, is what their side ended up saying and agreeing with finally. So that was a big thing. But yeah, that's the distinction. That's the difference between kind of the noise, and there's various reasons that I'm not going to go into for reasons of protection of the innocent. Yeah. But yeah, it hits hard. None of this other shit's budging. I'm surprised this other stuff has budged. I guess that's kind of where it ends up. Maybe I'm a little off my feet, having taken a hit, Um, but I am surprised of that working out. That I am able to kind of find some reasoning and rationale um, through my tears, kind of into the anger of history, sort of thing. Had some time sequences and that sort of thing. Various myth- mythologies um, even applied. Just kind of this cascading, which I've had to work and fight and all this um, for the American people, thankfully. Um, and that was recognized too, and that felt good. Um, so this is not kind of open for public season or privy to auction or some sort of I don't. I'm done with it. Like I said, I'm not holding hands. It's just kind of the best cold shoulder you can muster under the circumstances of the idiots who brought us all this polarity and war and despair and hatred and hopelessness and slavery and crime and theft and degradation and humiliation and waste and just so much shit. Um, and it's very, very, very simple to get very, very angry about it. And there's literally equations for that sort of thing. They sit there and twist the knife, and it's maddening. Um, so I guess almost as a discipline, I refuse the enshrining of that message, that collateral, that fucking economic. So it's kind of less a decree that you need to understand and more just an update on some various news. We might still be kind of stuck here because of kind of some political issues. We're still dealing with some hot shit, but it's been removed from the hands of the terrorists who are the cause of your life being destroyed and shit like that, being interrupted. Kind of a stop the bleeding measure, Take the gun away, goddammit. So with the politics, there's some various runarounds and shit like that, which, again, I am voting for not waiting another year. I understand the politics, you know what I mean? I do. So there is kind of an image present. I guess this is how we're going to look at it. There is kind of an image present, and the image is not at all reflective of what reality is. It's a really lead me on and blackmailed and sort of thing. I mean, I can go all the way back before I knew any of this was going on, and it's like that fucking problem. So we have those people. Here's what they made. We're kind of crashing the building onto them. Eat your own medicine. How's your money now, pig? So that's what's up. I want to snap my fingers and have that be done, and then simply deal with what's kind of left. But we're touching kind of every aspect of life, sort of thing, and I don't want to screw us coming out the other end, which is why I'm not going to run out and protest and that kind of thing. I have a lot of respect for a lot of various intelligences, and I'd much rather take the route of consensus and decent proposal, standard interaction, rather than throwing my weight around for something I have no fucking clue where it's going to end up, you know. It behooves a person to know the game he's playing, you know, kind of reality is the truth, not the stringent. That's not debatable. You know, it's not willed, you know, it's not a condition. So we're going to have to go with that to kind of, you know, wrap the shit up, you know. Love to sit, you know, you implode a building or so, you get rid of a stadium or something. Sure, we could drop a bomb on it, you know, and it's over. But here's how to do it, you know, so that doesn't get hurt, and the dust, you know, all that kind of thing. I hate. And what I'm going to go after, just to let you know, and we did some of this yesterday, the profiting on that, capitalization of stuff, you know, the little, you know, making tails out the side sort of thing. It's really unbecoming, and maybe we'll get to the end of this, and hopefully you'll be embarrassed about it. Maybe that won't happen, and as a philosopher, or an evolved or enlightened person, I don't know. I think too much of you, or something like that, you know, which is disparaging, and I don't actually engage in that kind of behavior. How to think about you, sort of thing. It's just like as a fact and a reality, and you know, I guess I'm better schooled. 5655, you know, if you're following along at home. So that's what's happening. I do still vote to not wait another year. And just as things kind of wrap up and whatever else, the real ugly and real desperate's going to come out of these people. I wish it would just stay in there and wouldn't be exposed. I wish they had a bit of fucking honor. They don't. All a facade, you know, smoke and mirrorsville. You know, that's all you get with problems-based society. You know, bite into an apple, and that's a fucking diaper, you know. So that's really a shame, and nothing's going to change that. So I'd like to salute some of the very important, very great people. Who I've been fortunate enough to come in contact with, whose help and rigor and will and strength have moved us through the darkest fucking point in human history. And thankfully, we have a plan to never have to repeat this, be rid of it fully, and that's the bright world. You know, that's why I do all this work, you know. That's what precedent is. That's what constitutionality is, who we are, what we're about. You know, look it up, goddammit. So yeah, good people taken care of, that kind of thing. Worth buying, worth investing into. Can't say hope you've enjoyed the show, but that's what it is. You know, that's what it is. And it's never going to change, so get used to it. You don't have to because it's already there. You already are used to it. Be a good hippie. What you do already. So mad love and God blesses and gracias.